Okay, welcome back to analog circuits. This is going to be 103. We're going to be, let's head over here into the design. We're going to be using a potentiometer to control these LEDs when they come on and when they go off. Now, the lab didn't really go too much into what a potentiometer is and how the board reads it. So I'll give a little more brief overview here. So a potentiometer is essentially just a variable resistor. This one is overall a 10k ohm resistance, so almost 0 to 10,000 ohms. And analog pin 0 here is going to read where this wiper is. That signal is read as a value between 0 and 1023 or 1023. And we're going to use that in our code to tell which light should be on using the if statement. So let's head over into Blockly. We got a clean slate here. Obviously I'm using the UNO and I have all of the things. So let's get our loop forever. Let's bring a logic out here. We're going to do, like I said, else and ifs. We're going to start out following the lab for the most part. We're going to do a comparison block. We need an input. We're going to read the value on an analog input. Don't forget to change this to whatever analog value you're using. In our case, we're using A0. And then we're going to need a math block to provide a value here. So for testing, we're going to do 500. And we're just going to, we're going to need to put some outputs in here. So we're going to put, let's see, what are all our outputs on? Pins 7 through 12. So we're going to get digital pin. We got a couple of these out here. And I'm just using Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste those. And while we're holding this whole thing, Control-C, Control-V gets us another one. And we can set all these to low. So we're going to grab our else statement, connect it to our if statement. Click the little cog there to get rid of that. So if, we're going to change this to, say, less than or equal to 500. And if that's the case, then we'll do that. If not, we'll turn them off. So let's copy our code. Control A selects all, Control V to paste. So what we're expecting to happen is if this value is seen as 500 or less, all of the LEDs will be on. So, and then as we rotate our potentiometer, didn't work. What did we miss? Oh, We have it in the wrong spot. Let's put it in the right spot. Copy our code. Come over to our code. Control A, Control V, and let's go ahead and start our simulation again. That's a good sign, they're all off. And now as we come down below halfway, they light up. Alright, so there's a good example of looking to see where you may have misplaced something. Alright, so next, we're just going to kind of keep building on that, those same ideas. So if we come back over here into Blockly, this can pretty much just keep getting built. Okay, so to kind of do what we want here, which is to compare it multiple times, we're gonna keep this here. We're gonna go up into logic. We're gonna bring an AND out, and then we're gonna start snapping this entire. Well, let's go ahead and control. Let's grab this whole block. Control C, Control V. So we got another one. We drop that whole block in there. And then we'll do the same thing. Control V to get another one so we have it. So we don't have to keep grabbing everything. We can drop that whole block in there. So now, actually let's delete that. Let's do this again. I think what we're gonna do is put the first two on. Okay, and we're going to set our values. We're going to have 0 and 500. We'll just do that again. So halfway through it changes. So if 0 is greater than, so if analog 0 is greater than 0 and less than 500, we're going to do this, or else we're going to do this. So let's copy our code. Control A, delete it all, Control V, hide our code, start our simulation, and there's that, and as we wipe over, it changes. Now that little bit right there at the end is because we didn't equal 0. So if we wanted to fix that, greater than or equal to 0. Let's see if that solves that. Stop our simulation. Control A, Control V, and it looks like that took care of it. So when it was at 0, it was going to the else statement. So like I said, we can keep building on this. So if we wanted to, let's go ahead and kind of start into the lab, which is to turn these on sequentially. So to make it quicker, what we'll do I forgot the 9. Is what we're going to do now is we have this whole block here. We can go Control C, Control V. So now, like we said, we're doing 0 to 1023, and we have, what's that, 1? Let's stop that code. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 steps. So this is going to get a little unwieldy, but what we can do is Control C, Control V. We can make this go a lot quicker by copying and pasting. and zooming out. Now we want to make sure that we don't leave any blocks on here because they will get in the way. And then Control V one more time. So there's all 6 of our steps. And then all we're going to do is move our pins around. And so we're I guess I did the math out somewhat, but we'll just kind of follow what the thing says, and we'll go to 200 for our first step, and then if it's greater than or equal to 200 and less than, we need to make sure these are less than because we don't want 2 of our values to be the same. If we wanted to leave that greater than or less than or equal to, we would have had to put this as greater than or equal to 201. Otherwise we'd have had a value of 200 being true for 2 statements, which we don't want. And we'll go 1000, and then we're just going to go to 2000, even though it's only 1023. Not quite sure. So select all, let's paste. Alright, so it's working. Our speed's just running really slow, so that one LED is taking a little bit of time to shut off. That's why it's kind of hanging lit there for a second. When we're at 0, because as you can see when we reset, it's sitting proper. We're running a little weird on time. So anyway, so that's the first part of this one. This side of this video is already starting to get really long. Some of the things you can play with is replacing the potentiometer here with a temperature sensor. Just remember, in this case, luckily, they all line up. Let's just drop it in there and see what happens. So our value on our temperature sensor is a little bit different than our potentiometer. I think this is In the lab we use 360 as the highest value that the temperature sensor can show us, which is this code right here, already done up in, oh, not this one. That's this one right here, already done up and ready to go. Let's copy it. Tinker, let's stop this. Control A, Control V, start this. And the idea here is obviously as it gets warmer, we get more lights. As it gets colder, we get fewer lights. So that's how we can switch out different types of basically variable resistors. A temperature sensor is oftentimes a variable resistor. So yeah, keep playing with this, have some fun. In our next lab in 104, we're going to be dealing with for statements and reading values and assigning values and mapping values in part 2 of number 4. So we're going to start using the PWM here to control the brightness, and so we'll use the value read from the wiper to control the brightness of an individual LED. Alright, I look forward to seeing you next time. If you have any questions, reach out, and as always, all of the links to everything are down below. I'm even going to link to Arduinos. They have another lab using a potentiometer, and they kind of go into how potentiometers work. If I can find it, I will link that down below. Thanks.